Well, howdy everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wild West Coding. I'm Ken Alger, developer here with Cisco DevNet, and I'm building an application for rodeos, kind of keeping with the theme of Wild West coding in the Wild West. If you've been, following along, my philosophy here is, out in the Wild West, I can kind of doing things the way I want to do them. So, I appreciate you joining or watching. Let's do a little bit of review here. So far, our app it's an API for some radio data that I mocked up. It's currently being stored in MongoDB Atlas. What have we done already? I mean, this is episode 7, I think, 6, 7, somewhere in there. So we're building the app using Go language, utilizing the Gen Web framework. As I mentioned, my completely fake, totally mocked up data is being stored and accessed from MongoDB Atlas, which is a MongoDB database that's in the cloud. We have API documentation in place using Go Swagger. The API routes, have various routes for all the different CRUD operations, so create, read, update, and delete. The routes that allow users or enable users to change data in the database, so create, update, and delete, they're protected. So users have to log in, so not just anybody can go in and change their data. When they're logging in, right now, they're being issued a JSON Web Token, or JWT. And in the last episode of Wild West Coder, I started using Argon 2 to hash passwords for a little bit more security. So in this episode, I need to finish implementing that password hashing, not hashing passwords. And then I'd like to get into a couple of potential user enhancements. So if you'd like to grab the project code and follow along, it's on GitHub. I think there should be a link down below for the GitHub repo, but it's also right up here. It's https://github.com/Ken W Alger, all one word, that's me. And then wild-west-coding-rodeo app, which is this highlighted link up here. So there's still a lot to do for the app. So saddle up and let's get started. So at the end of the last episode, I found a typo in passwords.go. So over here in utils, passwords.go, down here on line 43, I think it was, I hadn't included this equal sign here for the P for the parameters. And that kind of messed things up because we were not making it that way, but then checking to make sure that the equal sign was there. So anyway, but I fixed that here in passwords. But when I did user populator over here to create a couple of users, it wasn't working, right? So I fixed it on one side, but then didn't fix it on the other end. So it was storing malformed data, if you will, in the database and then not checking it properly. So let's start here. We'll go over here. Let's delete these users from the database. Great. Let's go in here and we'll rerun userpopulator.go. That should go out and hopefully everything works. There we go. See what I did there? There we go. Funny, funny. All right, so now if we look in here, we have our users and our P equals is there, so that should be beneficial. Now if we go in, let's run a post request to our sign-in route. So localhost 8080, come on, 8080 sign in. And let's also make sure that our server is running, because otherwise that won't really do us any good. So that's up and running, fantastic. So we'll send this off with a body, JSON, and our username was kalger. Password, a very tricky rodeo password. Now, if we send that, we should get back, there we go. We get back a token and our expiration. That's fantastic. It works as planned. That's great. So let's go over here and we're going to commit these changes. Sign in with Argon to password hashing. Great. So let's commit and push those. All right. Now over here in MongoDB Compass, one thing that we should probably do just to make things a little bit better for our app is let's create a unique index on the username, just so that, you know, nobody comes in with a similar username and tries to get it stored in the database. So that's great here. That's a nice little feature. So we have the API. It's working, providing access to get, post, put, and delete requests. The post, put, and delete requests requiring users to send a push request to the sign-in endpoint, which gives them a JSON Web Token or JWT. And then using that token, we can gain access to the API. Right now, the way our app is set up, that token expires every 2 minutes. For testing, that's pretty good. But from the end of the day, it really doesn't allow them too much time to access things without having to log in again. I could extend the expiration time of the JWT, but that really only goes so far, right? Like I could make it 24 hours or whatever, but opens up some usability and some security issues. I think a better option really would be to create another endpoint that allows users to get a new token without having to send their username and password over and over again. So let's create a new endpoint here. I think we're done with user populator. Hopefully we're done with passwords. But we'll create a new endpoint and route in our Rodeo app that grabs the old token as a post parameter and returns a new token and an expiration time. So here in auth handlers, so this is just going to be kind of a refresh sort of thing. Excuse me. Let's go down here. Sure, down here, let me give a bunch of space so that we can see what's happening. So let's write some Swagger comments. So it's going to be a post operation, a refresh token. It's part of the auth package, and it's refresh. And this is just going to refresh the JWT. So the parameters that we're going to want. We want it to take in, the name is going to be the token that it's going to take in. It's going to take it in JSON format. And our description, so expired JSON Web Token. Can't seem to type the word token today. From the authorization value in the post header. Okay. We want that to be required because otherwise that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And it's going to come in as a string type. All right. And at the end of the day here, it's going to produce application JSON data. And so we're going to get quite a few different responses are going to be possible from here. All right, so we're gonna have a 200 response possible, which will be a successful token refresh. Could possibly get a 400, which will just be a bad request. Something happens there. You get a 401, so that's the unauthorized, right? Like you're sending in a bad web token or something. Unauthorized, and something strange could happen here, and we can get a 500 error. So it will just be an internal error. Let's give us a little bit more visual room here. Scroll that up a little bit. All right, so need to write a new function here, and it's going to take a handler, which will be an auth handler. We'll call this refresh token handler, which will take in our context. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of coding here to get through. So we're going to want to grab the token value, right, from our header, and we were calling that authorization. And we're dealing with our claims. So we're passing that off there. So our token and our error, we're going to do the GWT. We're going to parse with the claims, and we're going to parse the token value, the claims itself, and then this new function here. It's going to be a JSON web token, and it'll enter wrong little brackety things, interface, and an error. All right. And we'll return the byte value here of our because we didn't write byte. So get in, and we're going to grab that JWT secret that's off in our secrets file, our environment file, and we'll pass out nil there. Okay. So if error isn't equal to nil, so we get something back, we're going to say that the status is unauthorized. Status unauthorized, that will be our 401 error, and we'll just send it back and give them the error that comes back. We'll return. So if the token is nil or the token isn't valid, then we'll also send back an unauthorized status. We'll give them a different error message. Don't normally like to do that, and kind of like to keep all the errors as generic and hidden as possible, so they don't, bad actors don't know exactly what's going on. But we'll be nice here. Okay, and this needs to be curly brackets and not parentheses. There we go. That'll come back, and we'll return that. Okay, so what's next that we need to do here? So we're checking that. So now we need to set up and see if our expiration time is within a given window, right? So the way that this refresh is going to work is right now our token is good for 2 minutes, 120 seconds. So a token will be good for that time, and we need to set a refresh time in there so that we have a window of opportunity to refresh. So just for testing purposes here, we'll set that to 60 seconds, which should give us some time to work. We want that time.second. And here we'll say it's a bad request, right? So if we're trying to refresh the token constantly without waiting our time period, we'll just say token has not yet expired. And then we will return, and we're getting that. So if we take away that one, we should have, there we go. Okay. All right. So we're checking all that. So if we're past that 60 seconds, we need to create the new token here. So we'll create a new expiration time. Time now, and we'll add an additional 2 minutes. Minute and add, I believe, is capitalized there. There we go. And then we're going to change that here to our expired time. And there we go. So we've updated that. And then we're going to generate a new token. New with claims, signing method 256. We'll create that. Token string. Need to create that. And we'll do a token. Sign string will be a byte. And we'll get our JWT string again here. Our environment data file. Okay, so it's trying that. So if we don't get an error from that, or if we do get an error, we'll say, hey, something went wrong. We'll do an internal server error type 500, and then we'll just pass off that error again. And we'll just send that out just to make things a little bit easy for us. All right, so now we need to return back our JWT token and our output here. So JWT output is of type there. Our token is our token string, and our expiration is our expiration time. And then we're going to return out status OK. We get our 200, and we're returning our JWT output. All right, and we need a colon there, and there we go. All right, well, that was a little bit of typing. A little bit of typing, a little bit of coding there. Good stuff. So what's next here? So I guess we probably need to go into main.go here and add that in as a route. So we come down here. So here we have this sign in. So let's do post. We'll do refresh token. Seems like a good route name. That will be auth handler and refresh token handler. All right. Okay, so let's try this out. We'll stop the server, start the server again. All right, and we can try this out over in Postman again. So we'll go over here. We will sign in, sending username and password, and we should get back a token. So that's great. And this is Pacific Daylight Time, so 9:22:43 is when this one expires. So we have a minute here to kind of wait and try it out here in just a second or two. Okay, so the next thing that we'll need to do here is we'll send this to localhost 8080 and the refresh token, right? And in the header, we're going to do authorization because that's what we are telling to look at. And we want to grab this token here and send this back as our value. All right, so if we send that now, we should get back, hey, we got back, why is that doing that? Interesting. So I know why that's coming through, but I thought that we had that set up. Refresh token. Did I spell that wrong over here? Refresh token. Nope. Let's just copy that. Come over here again. Huh. Interesting. So where did things go awry, so to speak? Okay, so in our that's interesting. So we have refresh token. Oh, I know why. Because we are sending this as a GET request, and it should be a POST request. So now our token will have expired. I'm guessing token is expired. That's fantastic. If we do a sign in again, we get a new token. So we'll cut and paste that, copy and paste it over here. There, or with inside our window, I'm thinking. So we're going to get back and say token is not yet expired. And when was this one expiring now? 9:25:29. And we are at, so we still have a few seconds here. I mean, so far this is working pretty well with the GWT. Like everything is working as expected, especially when you send, the right type of request and a post request instead of a GET request. You'll have better luck. And if we send it again, our token still has not yet expired. So let's keep going here. We're at 25:29, so at 24:29 we should be able to get something back. And hey, look at that, there we go. Oh, and it looks like I made it pass by 3 seconds or so. So that's fantastic. Our app is working, has a good authorization workflow. The expiration times are still pretty tight. Great for testing here. We got 2 minutes each. In production, I'd probably change the initial expiration time would be something more like 15 minutes, and the refresh window might be 24 hours or two. So that's great. So how's everybody doing today? While we wait, just to make sure that our token actually expires here after 2 minutes. Everybody doing well? How's my producer Jeff Bull doing here? You doing pretty well today, Jeff?
The voice from up on high. Yes, I'm doing great. Thanks, good.
All righty. So let's see here, 9:26:32. Still got a little bit of time. I think we did this though. I mean, we tried it. I mean, we'll send this again. There we go. Token is expired. So that's great. So I would need to log in again and be able to gain access to their API resources. So let's commit these changes. And then we're going to look at a way that might be a little bit more user friendly. I'll leave that up to you all. So authorization workflow with JWPs. All right. Yippee skippy. We have that out there. So, if you've been following along here with the Wild West Coder series, first of all, thank you very much for joining, either live or recording, watching it. It's great. Secondly, I think we've come quite a long ways. We have this new authorization functionality. Pretty good start on security and user experience. There are many authorization methods out there, and there's one other one that I'd like to show here. Right now, our user needs to send the authorization header in each post request. That's all fine and dandy, but a step can be saved by introducing cookies. So bear with me here. We'll take the cowboy hat off. We'll go into cookie mode, and we'll work on cookies. Oh wait, no, I'm not talking about these cookies. We're talking about session cookies, right? And that's going to allow users to stick around without having to authenticate every time. Sound like a plan? I hope so. The first thing that we're going to start with, hey, you guessed it, more Go packages. So we're going to need two here for this next next section of the app. The first is going to handle sessions for our Gen app. So we're going to go get github.com, gen contrib, and sessions. All right, so those got added in. And then we're going to, one thing that we're probably going to need is some way to create globally unique IDs. So there's a great package out there, github.com, called XID. And let's, while I'm thinking about it here, just because I know I'll forget later on, I'm going to go into project resources and add a couple things here just so that next time we push, we get those added to our README file so that everybody can know what's happening out there. All right, so to add sessions to our app, we're going to go to main.go. Let me reduce this down here. Main.go, we're going to need a few new imports. We're going to need github.com /gen contrib and sessions. Because we're using MongoDB and we want to store sessions in MongoDB, we're going to add Mongo driver to that as well. Okay, and then scroll down here a little ways down here around line 74 is where my main function is, and underneath our set trusted proxies, we're going to configure our sessions. So we're going to do a new collection in MongoDB. And it's going to be our same MongoDB database string that we're going to grab, and we'll do a new collection here, and we'll head over there shortly. And right now we'll just bring that in as a section. collection. Boy, there's a lot of words today that are causing my tongue to get twisted. So our store that we're going to be using is our Mongo driver, and we're going to do a new store, and our collection will be our session collection, and our max age will be 1800 and true, and we'll do our byte, and we're going to need to create a new session secret for this. Alrighty. Let's go over to .env, and we need a new session collection. I think that's what I called it. Hope that is. And sessions, and then let's authorization string. We'll do a session secret. And I have one here that I've just made up before, and just to save some miscellaneous typing, I'll just paste that in there. All right, so I'll go here back to main.go. Now we need to have our router use this, right? So our router is going to use our sessions, and it's going to, this is where, I don't know if you've seen cookies before in the browser, like if you go in and check out, in DevTools and look at cookies, but this is where you can name that. We're just going to say this is the radio app session, and we're going to take in the store there. Okay, so let's head on over to our sign-in handler in our authhandlers.go, and we get to make some tweaks here. Authhandlers.go, and we are going into delete mode here. We're going to clean up a lot of this stuff. Actually, I mean, everything that we did with all the JWTs is ultimately going to go away here, but here in the sign-in handler, everything here, let's see, what all are we going? So everything from where expiration time is on down to here. There we go. Now we're going to create our sessions. What do we need here? We need a session token. Is going to be this randomized string, and it'll be a new string. And our session is going to be sessions default, and it's going to bring in our context. We're going to set our session stuff here. So the username is going to be our username. Session set our token, and that likes commas and not colons. And this will be our session token. All right. So our username. So when we log in, our session is going to get set with our username, and then the token that we've created. Then we're going to save our session out to the database, and eventually we'll get back to handling that error, but hopefully all works right now. And if all that goes just peachy keen, we get back that, hey, welcome to the app. Let's say, howdy, you've been signed in. All right. So I think that's a little cleaner than working with all the JWTs. We still need to make another couple tweaks here in auth middleware. So that is right here. For me right now, it's started around line 100. So pretty much everything in here dealing with all this can go away. We'll need that next. And we're going to rewrite this a little bit. Sessions default. And we're going to take in that context again. Session token. Yeah, will be the session. We're going to get the token. Right. So as this is the authorization. We're checking to see if the token is good or not. So if it's not in existence, then we're going to say, hey, sorry. Sorry, you're not logged in. And then we're going to just abort there. All right. So that seems to be pretty easy, a little cleaner, I think, than the JWT stuff. And finally here inside auth handlers, we'll do this above our auth middleware. We'll come in here, scroll up a little bit again for visibility. We need some way for folks to log out, which will delete the session and the cookie. So Swagger operation will be a post operation again. This will be sign out, auth, and sign out of the application. And this is going to produce application JSON, the response will be a 200 response, and our description be successful sign out the application. So here, it's going to be a new handler, right? New auth handler type. We'll call it the sign out handler. And it'll take in our context. And so this should be fairly easy. So we're going to grab our session from our context, and then we're going to clear the session. And then we're going to save it off to the database as a cleared value. And then we will say, hey, nice work. Thanks for coming by, because now you're logged out. But we'll say thanks for stopping by. Happy trails. And then we need to go in and register this route with our app. And so under our refresh token here, which we don't really need anymore, but we'll clean that up here shortly. If we do sign out, so this will be auth handler and sign out handler. Okay, so let's try this out here. Let's run our server again. Main.go, not main.com, main.go. Looks like we need to add something else for our Mongo driver. Mongo driver, and it wants it to be at version 0.0.5. All right, so let's clear this out and then go run main.go again. Hopefully that There we go. So we have all of our routes again here. Now if we go over to Postman, let's try a few things here. All right. I think I have some of these saved. So let's do an update of a single route. So we're not signed in. So we're going to change this to false. So if we do a basic put route here, that should fail, right? Sorry, you're not logged in. Great. And if we go in here to sign in, again, that's our route with our username and password. Howdy, you've been signed in. Fantastic. And now if we go in here to our put route again and we send that, we get that. That works great. Our data has changed. And if we come to localhost 8080 and we want to do sign out now and sending a post. Thanks for stopping by. Happy trails. There's our message. That's amazing. And now just to double check, if we try and do our put, we'll change this back to true. We should say you're not logged in. Hey, awesome. Sessions are working. So let's log in again here real quick. All right. And we'll look at our cookies. So we see our Rodeo app session name and we see our value and expiration time. That's amazing. So that makes me really happy that all that works. And while I'm thinking about it, I mentioned this a little bit. I'll stop the server here. Let's go in and take out all that JWT code. So we go into authhandlers.go. We can start up here. Claims and the JWT output structs, those can go in the comments here in our sign-in handler. Right, we're not doing a 500 error anymore, so that can go away. And then our refresh token handler, all that hard work, all that can be taken out as well. And then in main.go, our refresh token, since we just deleted that, that's showing that as an error, so we can make that go away. And actually, while I'm here, we haven't been using these. Let's take out the index handler and our name handler. And where did those go? Those are up here. We can take all those out since we're not using them. Clean up our code a little bit. That's great. And then finally here in our .env, we can make our JWT secret. That can go away too. All right, so not to doubt any of my, tremendous deletion skills, but let's just double check that I didn't do something horrible. So we have our routes again. That's looking good. Come over here to Postman again. So let's try that same flow that we did before. Try changing this to false while we're not signed in. I guess we were signed in. That's right. So let's sign out. We'll change this to true. So we're signed out. Can't do that. We sign in. We get our message that says we're signed in. We should be able to do our again here. There we go. Sign out route. There we go. We're signed out. Now when we go over here and try this and send that, we're not logged in. That's awesome. I'm really, really happy with all that. So let's close this up or close the server down. And let's actually commit these changes, but we're going to make a new branch here. We're going to call it cookies because I like cookies. So we're going to create a new branch, and then we're going to commit and put session-based authorization up to GitHub. All right. So we have a new branch just for sessions. So this way, if we want to go back and revisit our JWT workflow, we have that, or branches for cookies. That's great as well. So our API, if we kind of do a little bit of a recap about the API at this point, we have versioned routes and endpoints. Some basic documentation is available through Swagger. All of our CRUD operations, create, read, update, delete, are available against data stored off in the cloud. Sensitive HTTP operations, post, put, and delete, requires users to be logged in. And once users are logged into the API, they're given a session cookie, allowing them access for a given time. In our current state, they have 30 minutes. We can change that if we feel like it's longer. And then users can also sign out of the API and have their session cookie deleted. So that's great. However, although that's some great functionality, from an application and administrator standpoint, and end user perspective, really, there isn't a way for a user to sign up for the service. Right now, they'd have to, I don't know, email the administrator and say, hey, can you create a new user with this? And here's my password. And then the administrator would have to go in. That's a big pain in the butt. So I think, a really good next step for the app would be to start building a web interface to allow folks to do that. I mean, Gin, our framework, is a web framework. It's not just for making APIs. It can do web-based things as well. So, let's take a look at that. I do want to, do a little bit of level setting here about the web interface that will be built. I'm going to walk through how to create templates in Gin, create a basic web app that offers some, I think, will be hopefully decent functionality. Along the trail here, it's going to require serving some static files such as CSS and images. And I'll show how that's done in Gin. However, and here's the big caveat. While I'll do some CSS styling as necessary and as I feel, again, this is Wild West coding, so I get to choose how I do things. I'm going to try not to turn this into a CSS 101 course. There's some great resources out and available about CSS and HTML if you want to do those. I also really want to be clear about my design skills. I make no claims, zero, nada, zilch, about making anything aesthetically pleasing. So if you see my color combinations, some of them might make designers shaking their boots. For that, I'm very sorry. If things are really an eyesore, feel free to make a pull request with design changes and perhaps they'll get implemented. You never know. Okay, with that design disclaimer out of the way, I think a good place to begin the web portion of the app is just a basic homepage for the site. I'll set up a templates folder for the site, templates and assets folder for the static assets, and a new handlers file for the web routes. I know we only have a few minutes left here today, so let's see how far we can get. So go in here. So we need a new directory, be new templates, new templates, and we want in here, we're also going to want a new folder for assets. And inside assets, we need a new directory for CSS and a directory for images. And kind of traditionally, it's just IMG. All right, so in main.go, again, we have our router down here. And so we can load our templates so it knows where to go find it, and we put it under templates. And then we assign our static folder under assets, right? And so this is going to just assign, make it easy for the app to find things. Okay, so in our templates directory here, where did my mouse go? There we go. Templates. Let's create a new file, and this is going to be a template file. Yes, we wanted to add it to there. I don't know that we need it to be a Go file. It would be less than desirable for what we're going to try and do here. All right. So very basic HTML, right? So we always start off with the doc type. Let browsers know that it's going to be in HTML. I'm doing this in English. We need a header section. Right, and here we want this to be in UTF-8 just for compatibility purposes. Our page title will be Rodeo app, and we'll do a pipe, and then we're going to pass in from our handlers and our routes the title of each page. We'll include that up there in the header, and then we need a body, and we'll do an H1 Rodeo app, and then we'll just add some text. This will be a Wild West Twitter project. Close that tag. We'll close the body tag, close the HTML tag. Okay, that's going to be a really exciting homepage. Right, you can tell my design skills are already hard at work here. At some point, I'll revisit that to make it look better. But again, no promises about winning design awards. Okay, let's build a handler for this. We'll need new Go file. We'll call this web handlers. Go. All right, so our web handler will be a struct. Right now, we won't do anything in there, but it'll be there for when we need it. Wandler. Now it's just a handler, and it is a web handler type there, and we'll just call this the index handler. And this will take in our context. Let's spell it correctly. Context. All right. And we're going to return HTML of OK status. We're going to direct it towards our template file and our title that we're going to pass in with it here, right? Or our data that we're going to send along is that it's the home page. Okay, now if we go over to main.go, and we're going to add in a new route. So we have here, this is going to be, let's API routes, sign in routes, auth routes. There we go. Routes, and then up here, web routes. So router, we'll do a GET request, go back to just our index page, and this will be our web handler. We need to define that, but we'll do that here in a second. Handler and index handler. Up here, we need probably do that here. Nope, we need to go up here. Here we go. Yeah, that's where we're going. Web handler. And there. So that should take care of that there. Okay. So let's run this. Go run main.go. And hopefully it comes back. There we go. We have our web handler for there. And let's go over to a web browser. Okay, come on. All right, and if we refresh this, why are we not working? All sorts of errors here. Interesting. Haven't seen all this before. All right, well, in theory, that should have worked. And we should have been getting back, our HTML. Not sure why that's working or not working. Web handler, index. So that's interesting. Well, all right, folks. We're getting close to time. The last couple of weeks I've been going over. Like to make sure that I respect everybody's time today and stay under time. Give you all a few minutes back. So the next few things that we'll work on, I'll figure out what this area is. That's kind of a big one. We'll figure that out. And then we'll start in on the user login flow. We'll need a couple extra pages, one for registration, one for login, one for logout. From a user experience standpoint, probably adding in some sort of navigation would be good. Since I'm running out of time today, I think I'll probably work on the website aspect of it offline. And then when we get back together next time, I'll run through how to connect it all and just kind of walk through the code. Unless folks really want to see see me do HTML writing and CSS. But in the meantime, make sure you check out the GitHub repo. The link should be down below. And I can put it back up here on the screen. It's again, it's github.com/ken-w-alger/wild-west-coding-rodeo app. Pay attention to capitalization there. And leave some comments, and let me know what features you'd like to see make it into the app. And until next time, happy coding, y'all.